Yo, what's good, everybody? Welcome to the first episode of Woods Hoops. Let's just dive right into today's topic before we talk anything about the channel. It's sad to see something with so much potential collapse, but I think we can all see in this moment Houston most definitely has a problem with what just went down yesterday. The Rockets have been one of the most promising teams in the past few years. All they have needed these past few runs they've made is that one more piece to pair with James Harden and make a championship contending squad. They got very close with CP3. Don't get me wrong, closer than more people would give them credit for. When the Rockets failed to win big with the Chris Paul-Harden duo, they went out and they traded for Russ and adjusted the whole roster to fit the Harden-Brody duo, going full small ball after shipping out Capella at the trade deadline. As we saw, this did not work out in favor of the Rockets, as entertaining as it was to watch. I'm not gonna lie, guys, that small ball lineup was fun to watch. But fun doesn't always mean wins. The Golden State Warriors are a prime example of when fun basketball means wins. Splash Bros, KD, Draymond, the whole squad catching dubs for 4 straight years. We may be seeing the resurgence of the Warriors. I'm not going to say may, I'm going to say 100% the Warriors are going to bounce back and be finals contenders this year. Mark my word on it. But back to the Rockets, the Harden, the Russell Westbrook situation. This news cannot be a surprise to any of us. In fact, Russ and Harden have been in near center of the trade rumors the past month or so, and it looks like it is about to come into fruition for one of them. Before we go any further in this video, if you are liking the vibe of this vid and want to see more of my content, please hit that subscribe button if you are new and join the Woods crew. I plan on dropping 3 to 5 bangers a week, and I know that you won't want to miss it. Also, if you enjoy this video, do me a solid and destroy that like button to help the channel grow. And if you want daily NBA news on the gram, feel free to drop a follow at Woods Hoops. Now let's get into the news that has broken out earlier the past couple of days. Not only has Russell Westbrook requested a trade from the Houston Rockets, but many other smaller details have been revealed as well. So let's just dive right in. There was some speculation, definitely by all NBA fans, that Westbrook and Harden both wanted out of Houston after the sour ending in the bubble. But when Kendrick Perkins gave this statement, I think it started to get the ball rolling for trade talks for these two.
James have not been answering the phone for the ownership or the front office or even Coach Silas for about 2 weeks now. It's because they don't feel included in the process.
If it was true that both Westbrook and Harden weren't answering calls from anyone with Houston, that would be bad news for Rockets fans. But the news that broke out the other day is definitely slightly reassuring. On November 11th, Shams put out a tweet stating, "Houston's James Harden remains committed to the Rockets and is locked in for the season." It's safe to say that this information from Shams is accurate, but I don't think we can rule out a possible Harden trade just yet. You guys have seen the Sixers speculation. You guys have seen all that. Just don't rule it out yet. Keep it in the back of your mind. With Coach Daryl Morris out of Houston, there is definitely a big question mark on how the team and Harden will perform under new coaching, and Russ made it clear that he didn't want to be any part of this questionable team. According to The Athletic, Westbrook has informed team officials that he has been uneasy about the team's accountability and culture and has a desire to return to his prior floor general role in Oklahoma City. Now, this should not come to it as a shock to us that Russell Westbrook is concerned about the accountability and the culture. You guys have seen that the Rockets' culture is obviously not the best. We saw Dwight Howard leave from James Harden. We saw Chris Paul leave from James Harden. And now we see that Russell Westbrook wants to do the same. I honestly don't believe that this came out as a huge surprise for anyone that's been paying attention to the NBA at all. It was clear that in the bubble, Russ was struggling on the Rockets. The man wants to get back to where he's best as a floor general. Who can blame him for that? The fact that Russ requested a trade wasn't the shocking part to anyone. The teams who were interested is what got the trade talk stirring like crazy. What Dan Feldman stated revolving around the Russ trades really sums up the whole situation at the moment. I did have multiple sources that I trust tell me that the teams believe Russell Westbrook could be had, and I've heard the Clippers have interest. I've heard the Knicks have interest in Westbrook, and whether anything materializes there, who knows? Who knows? But the fact is that there is a belief that a guy like Westbrook could become available. Despite his giant contract, there are teams willing to bank on it and that are interested in Russell Westbrook, possibly the missing piece to their offense, a floor general, explosive guard that can set up his teammates and take it to the rim at will. I find it very interesting that the Clippers would try and make a splash with someone who has shown that he wasn't the man or even the number 2 option in the playoffs like Westbrook, being what just happened with Paul George, playoff P. But what would be truly wild is if the Clippers traded the former teammates Paul George and Russell Westbrook for each other. As crazy as it sounds, this trade could be realistic and beneficial for both sides. And what makes this even crazier is what the Rockets owner Tim Frieda said last month about the plans for the team. The team still has plans on contending despite moving from general manager Daryl Morey and head coach Mike D'Antoni this offseason. But that may be difficult to do without Westbrook. However, Houston is fully intending to continue building a title contender around James Harden. We're still all in, Stone said. Our goal is to win a championship. We'll do anything we can do to get us closer to that goal. The good news is we have really, really good basketball players. I'm getting a talented roster that has already won. Not to the level we want, but won in a big way. It's about being very smart to keep the good stuff and be additive. You don't want to do anything rash. You want to see if there are changes that will help. Now this is interesting because it's sounding like they wouldn't just ship Westbrook off because they don't want to do anything rash. But he just demanded a trade. The team is fully intending to build a title contender around James Harden. Interesting. This once again solidifies the fact that James Harden isn't going anywhere and the Rockets still want to win now. Do you think that a Russell Westbrook for Paul George trade would put the Rockets in contention? Let me know in the comments below. Personally, I think that the combo would be lethal if we got OKC PG, which is a fairly big if. But if the Clippers and Rockets could get the money to line up, this trade really could happen. Imagine the transition game the Clippers could have with Kawhi on D and Russell Westbrook running coast-to-coast offense. Lethal. Although it is fun to think about the PG and Harden combo on the other side of the spectrum, it's hard to see the Clippers giving up Paul George after their massive trade that they put together for him. Although getting PG is what brought Kawhi to the Clippers, the bundle of picks and talents of Shea, Gilgeous-Alexander, and Danilo Gallinari still seem like a hefty price for playoff B. If the Clippers were to make a move for Russ, in my eyes, I think that it would contain Lou Will, Landry Shamet, and a cap filler player. Houston would get some solid players and be able to unload the massive Westbrook contract, while the Clippers would get a third player they potentially need to get all the way to the championship and form a three-headed monster of LA. The truth is, no matter where Westbrook goes, there's a chance that things could go south if he can't do his thing on the offensive side of the ball. Westbrook needs to land on a team where he can be the floor general of the team and not have to worry about people like Harden hogging the reps. When Russ was able to do his thing in Houston when they first went small ball, he was showing MVP-like glimpses and was shooting over 50% of his takes in the paint. But once the bubble started, he didn't run the floor like he did earlier in the season, partially because of his injury, and was often forced into taking those mid-range shots that he just couldn't hit like prime Westbrook does. Liability? Possibly. The Knicks have also shown interest in trading for Brody, but the Rockets have made it clear that they want to win now. The Knicks just flat out don't have the assets the Rockets are looking for, and they also stated that Kevin Knox is too much for them to give away. Fact is, we don't know where Westbrook will go, but I want to hear from you guys. Who do you think would be the best fit for a floor general guard like Westbrook? And where do you think is the most realistic landing spot for him? Because let's face it, the small ball days are more than likely behind us from the Houston Rockets, at least. And Brody wants out. Huge shout out to all you guys that watched this video. If you are still watching at this point, this is the first of many, and I hope you enjoyed. If so, it would mean the world if you could hit that subscribe button and join the Woods crew if you're new. I plan on putting out 3 to 5 vids a week for you all. Not sure how long this video is going to be, but I'm shooting for those 8 to 13 minutes videos for you guys to enjoy. So you guys just stay tuned. Lastly, be sure to drop a comment on what types of videos you would like to see next. I'm up for anything. I just like talking hoops and want to make a YouTube channel about it. Thank you all for watching. Woods out.